In this video we're going to be looking at solving quadratic equations by factorising and equating the terms to zero. A quadratic equation is an equation where the highest term variable is squared, or power of 2. And a solution to a quadratic equation can be no solutions, one solution, or two solutions. So on the left hand side we have no solutions to these quadratic equations. On the right hand side we have two solutions to that quadratic equation and two solutions to this quadratic equation. The solution is where the parabola crosses the x-axis, or the horizontal axis. So the method today we're going to be using to solving a quadratic equation is factorising, then equating the terms to zero. When we set our problem up like this, we know that one of those terms has to be zero, or both terms are zero, to get zero on the right hand side. So we break it up and solve each one separately and get two solutions, no solution or one solution. So here is the first problem we're going to tackle. It's already factorised for us. Here I'm just showing that it is a quadratic equation. When we expand it out we have the highest power of 2. So the first step is breaking the factors up and equating them both to zero, then solving each one separately. In this case we have two solutions, x equals 0 or x equals 2. If we draw the parabola or the quadratic equation, we can see where it crosses the x-axis at 0 and 2. Here we have another equation to solve, quadratic equation. It's already factorised and equated to 0. We break the factors up and equate each one separately and solve each one separately. So the left hand one we rearrange, we get x equals 1, and the right hand side one we get x equals 3 over 2. So if we draw the quadratic equation, the parabola will cross the x-axis at 1 and 3 over 2, or 1.5. This one here, we have x take 3 all squared. So if we were to expand this out, the factors out, we'll get a x take 3 multiplied by x take 3. Solve each one separately and we get a single solution, in this case x equals 3. So if we would draw this quadratic equation or parabola, the parabola just touches the x-axis at one point only, and that is 3. This one here we have a quadratic equation and it's not factorised. It is equated to 0, but we can factorise this quadratic equation. So firstly draw the terms, the brackets, and we need to solve for a and b. We know the first term in each factor is x because we have an x squared there. To solve for a or b, we need to find two numbers that multiply together to give negative 30 and add to give 13, a positive 13. We can do this by trial and error. Just on the right hand side here, and we find that a 15 multiplied by a negative 2 will give the negative 30, and if we add 15 plus, or 15 take 2, we get 13. So those are a and b. We can now solve each term separately, or each factor separately, and we get negative 15 or x equals 2. Are the two solutions to this quadratic equation. This one here, once again, we need to factorise. So firstly, find the a and b numbers. We can see that negative 3 multiplied by 4 gives that negative 12, and 4 take away 3, or 4 plus negative 3 gives 1, which is the coefficient on the x term. So solve each term separately and we get x equals 3 and x equals -4. This one here, we have a term not equal to 0 on the left hand side and right hand side. Firstly, we need to get everything to the left hand side and equate it to 0. So -2x squared plus 3x. We can now factorise that x out to get our two factors and then equate each term to 0 and solve separately. We can see x equals 0, and on the right hand side there we need to do some algebra to solve for x, and we get x equals 3/2. This one here, 5x squared take away 10x equals 0. Once again we can factorise the left hand side, take out the x, the common term x, then solve each term separately. So x equals 0 or 5x take 10 equals 0. And we can rearrange the right hand side there to get the answer for x. In this case it's equal to 2. It's in the standard form. We need to factorise this one to get the two factors. In this case we've found the a and the b. 3 times 3 is 9 and 3 plus 3 is 6. Solve each one separately. In this case, because they're the same factor, we have a single solution, so x equals -3.